Hello there, grade 5. Good morning, everyone. Today's lesson is about the zodiac. But before we are going to that lesson, we'll have a short review regarding our lessons last week. It's about the constellations. So, again, a constellation is any one of the 88 areas into which the sky is divided. The constellations are totally imaginary things made up over the past 6,000 years. Constellations break up the sky into more manageable bits. People of ancient time saw the constellation as a character or animals in the sky. They made up stories to explain how the object, animal, or character came into the night sky. You look at the example of a constellation there we have in these slides, it's the Orion. This type of schematic draws the stars as different sizes to represent different brightnesses. In almost every star atlas, you will see Orion drawn with these same lines. Every star on the chart is level. One constellation is composed of many stars, and some of the stars are the brightest stars, isn't it? Like, for example, these Orions have how many bright stars it has. The ancient astronomers names the constellations after the personalities and creatures from their mythologies. Now let us have another example of a constellations. The constellation Draco. Draco is the dragon. Draco the dragon is one of the few constellations that really looks like itself. His story is that he used to guard the golden apple tree in Hesperides' garden. How about the grass? A grass was often referred to as the flamingo. The ancient Egyptians used the crane as a symbol of the astronomer because of high flight. And this is Leo. Leo the lion. Leo is the Nemean lion which was killed by Hercules on one of his great quests. The legend says that the lions had a hide that could not punctured by iron, bronze, or stones. Since he could not reason with the ferocious beasts, Hercules strangled into death, and the local people were very grateful. This is the Ursa Major, or the Big Dipper, or known as the Big Bear. This group of stars contains those who make up the Big Dipper and Small Dipper. It is also known as the Great Bear, and it is in the northern hemisphere. Ursa Major has seven Messier objects, including a double star, a planetary nebula, an irregular galaxy, and four spiral galaxies. Indus. Indus is a constellation in the southern hemisphere. It was one of the 12 constellations that were observed by the Dutch navigators Peter Dergson, Keizer, and Friedrich de Houtman, mapped by the Dutch astronomer Petrus Plancius. Indus was first depicted in Johann Bayer's Atlas Uranimetria in 1603. The name of the constellation means the Indian, and it is illustrated as a man holding arrows without a bow, as though hunting. It is unclear whether Indus refers to a native of the East Indies or the Americas. Hydra. This is the picture of a Hydra, and that is a constellation. Hydra is also known as the sea serpent. This constellation is seen in the southern hemisphere, and you can see it between January and May. It represents a giant water snake. Hydra is the largest constellation in the sky. It was a giant beast with the body of a dog and 100 snakes-like heads. So what are zodiac? Now let's go to the zodiac. So what are zodiac? A zodiac is coordinate systems of 12 signs based on the 12 constellations used in astronomy and astrology. So here are the 12 signs of the zodiac. You can open your textbook in page 108. A zodiac is another family of constellation. There are 12 zodiacal constellations. Each of them can be seen at a particular month of the year. In page 108, the first symbol of the constellation is the Aries. Aries month is from March 22 to April 20. Next one is the Taurus. Taurus is April 21 to May 21. Gemini is from May 22 to June 21. Cancer from June 22 down to July 22. Leo, July 23 to August 22. For Virgo, August 23 to September 22. Libra down to September 23 to October 23. Scorpio, October 24 to November 21. Sagittarius, November 22 to December 21. Capricorn is December 22 to January 20. Aquarius is on January 21 to February 21. And last is the Pisces. The Pisces is February 22 to March 21. But when it was in 2006, they changed the zodiac constellation. They added one constellation's names, the Ophiuchus. Now, horoscope or a zodiac is a predictions based on the stars' formations. Zodiac comes from the Greek word zodiakos or Kerklas, or in English, circle of little animals. The Greeks pilfered the concept from the Babylonians, who had decided that the sun passed through 12 phases or signs whose representations could be sketched out in a constellations. The Greeks finished appropriating the concept around the 6th century BC. They then came up with their own explanations for how these figures ended up in the sky. What is a zodiac or what is a horoscope? The word zodiac or horoscope, it came from a Latin word which means called the band of animals. In astronomy, 12 constellations in ecliptic called the astrologies. The band following ecliptic, it has a 360 degrees divided into 12 to 30 degrees sections. named after the constellations that are in each band, don't match up anymore because of the equinoxes. So, what are the astronomical aspects? The observations of the 12 constellations. Sun follows ecliptic path, blocks one of the constellations a month, like the 12 zodiac constellation. An example is the Aries from March 21 to April 20. So here are the 12 signs of the zodiacal constellations. Starts with the Aries, the Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and the Pisces. People believe that different signs of the zodiac present different characteristics and talents of each of the persons involved in the 12 zodiac constellations. The English word zodiac derives from zodiacus, the Latinized forms of the ancient Greek zoidiacus, cyclos, meaning cycle or circle of little animals. Zoidians is the diminutives of zoin. The name reflects the prominence of the animals among the 12 signs. How about you? What is your zodiac signs? So, how to find out your zodiac signs? If you see there are the month down their dates, you check your birth date in which you are belongs to. Like me, my zodiac constellation is Leo because I am on the 25th of July. I was born on that day.
People have been studying the skies for centuries, and who can blame them? It is beautiful up there. On any given clear night, there are probably more than 2,000 stars that you can see, and that's without a telescope. Way before telescopes were even invented, ancient astronomers tracked the movement of objects in the sky, and over time, one group of objects ended up getting a lot of attention. I'm talking about the 13 constellations that make up something called the zodiac. So, what's the zodiac and which constellations are part of it? We'll get to that in just a sec, but first, do you remember what a constellation is? Sure you do. A constellation is a cluster of stars in the sky that are grouped together in a particular pattern and have been given a name. We've talked about a few famous constellations before, like Draco, Hercules, Pegasus, Ursa Major, and Crux. But none of these constellations are part of the zodiac. You might recognize some of the constellations that are in the zodiac, though. Do the names Gemini, Leo, or Sagittarius sound familiar? They're among the 13 zodiac constellations, and they actually form a kind of pattern in the sky. This pattern makes it easier for observers to know where to find each constellation throughout the course of the year. So, what are all of the constellations in the zodiac, and what pattern do they form? Let's take a look. You know this guy. Hi, Earth. At the beginning of the year, January, the constellation of Sagittarius is highly visible to us on Earth. The Greeks called Sagittarius the Archer because it looked like, well, a guy shooting a bow and arrow. Capricornus is also highly visible in January, toward the end of the month. It's sometimes called the sea goat, since it happens to have the head of a goat and the tail of a fish, which is not something you see every day. Next up in February is Aquarius, or the water bearer. A group of ancient people called the Babylonians thought that this group of stars looked like an old man pouring water from a pitcher. Moving on to March, this is Pisces, or the fishes. Pisces represents Venus, a Roman goddess who is said to have turned into a fish and jumped into a river to escape an evil monster. Aries is up in April. In Greek mythology, Aries was a ram with wings. The constellation of Taurus, visible in May, looks like a bull bull. It's named for the Roman god Jupiter, who could supposedly turn himself into a bull when he swam. June's prominent constellation, Gemini, is sometimes called the twins, because it reminded the ancient Greeks of the twin sons of Zeus. Cancer, which you can see pretty well in July, is called the crab, because that's what it reminded some folks of. August's constellation is called Leo and looks like a ferocious lion. Seen in September, Virgo is called the maiden, since it looks like a lady holding grain, which symbolized the harvest to the Greeks and the Romans. This constellation of Libra appears in October, when days and nights are roughly equal and is considered a symbol of balance. I bet you can guess what Scorpius is named for. Yep, it looks like a scorpion. Finishing off the year in late November is Ophiuchus, which was once called Serpentarius because it looked like a man holding a serpent, or a snake. Hey, better him than me. Alright, now that you've met all of the constellations in the zodiac, let's light them up and see if we can spot a pattern. Looks like a circle to me. And here's a fun fact. Zodiac loosely translates to circle of animals or circle of life in Greek. So the zodiac isn't just a random bunch of stars, it's a group of constellations that form a circular pattern in the night sky. And now you know which constellations are part of this pattern, and that people have been observing these constellations for centuries. The zodiac has helped astronomers figure out how other objects travel in space, objects like the sun, and even our own planet. But you can look forward to learning more on that in the next episode.
So that is all for today's lesson. I hope you guys understand some of our lessons and hope you understand it. And for a further discussions on this topic, we will discuss again when you are coming back already on next week, and that is February 1. So have a safe and a healthy day, everyone. Thank you.